In its latest issue, Down East magazine has done something it has never done before in its long history. It's taking a look at oceans. It's the ocean issue. With us here to talk about it is Will Grunwald, editor-in-chief. So what was the inspiration here to do this in a way that you had never done before, Will?
Yeah, sure. So, it pretty much goes without saying, right, that the ocean is pretty intrinsic to Maine history and its economy and its culture. But we wanted to look at it in ways that, we think it often doesn't get looked at. It's this vast sort of impenetrable thing, and it's easy to kind of take it for granted, I think.
I think you've succeeded in that. So let's talk about some of the pieces that are in this issue. We'll start with one by Susan Hand Shetterly. It's a look at a place that most Mainers, I'm guessing, have never heard of. They never think about. It's called Cash's Ledge. It's about 90 miles off the coast, and it is remarkable for what?
Yeah, it's remarkable, especially for its biodiversity. So what it is essentially an underwater mountain range that comes to within, I think, about 30 feet of the surface, and then drops off into really deep valleys. It has like these vast kelp forests and boulders and scree and mud, and it is home to just, a huge array of species. It's
called the Yellowstone of the Atlantic, which is a term that's great. And a lot of a fair amount of the piece focuses on Brian Scarry, who lives in New York, been a photographer for National Geographic, and his images are just stunning. Yeah,
they're beautiful. I mean, it wouldn't be wrong to like mistake that for somewhere tropical, right? I mean, the colors down there, the density of fish, it's really amazing. And the other component of the story too, right, is that this is a place that has sort of temporary protected status, and people like Brian and others are really making a push to make that permanent.
Another piece with really strong visuals is by Dave Waddell. What did he do for this?
Yeah, so Dave took almost a week-long cruise on one of Maine's windjammers. He had been curious about what, a lot of people go out for like day trips, sunset cruises, that kind of thing, but he was curious about what it was like to really go and spend a significant amount of time.
Get the full experience.
Yeah, and it's not a Carnival cruise. It's something very different. The way he felt about it was that it was almost a step back in time. You're traveling the Maine coast the way it was traveled hundreds and hundreds of years ago, and accessing remote islands and just sort of experiencing things in a way that it's hard to do otherwise anymore.
And let's finish with Charlie Pike's piece, which takes us into another world that most of us are just not familiar with, and that's the world of bluefin tuna, the people who are studying them and the people who are catching them in Maine.
Yeah, right. So, you say seafood from Maine, and tuna is not coming to mind for most people, probably at all. And not for me, really, before either.
Except for the summer tuna tournaments. But aside from that, right. I never think of them.
No, and it's a significant fishery here, and a healthy one, too, which you can't say for all of them. Fish caught here, these are big fish, like, 1,000 pounds, more sometimes. They're being sold in Maine, around the world. A lot go to Japan if they're like a really high grade because they're prized in sushi. And part of the reason that the fishery is healthy is because of the research that goes on through this lab at University of Maine, tracking population health all along the Atlantic seaboard and making sure that like catch quotas and other regulatory measures are calibrated correctly.
Those stories and more, all in the March issue, the ocean issue. Will, thanks as always. Appreciate you being here.
Yeah, thanks, Rob.
More information at downeast.com. And stay with us. 207 is going to be back right after this.